mother of two very beautiful girls, and I'm a social worker. I work at a community mental health agency in Northampton, where I do therapy with a variety of different people about a variety of different emotional needs that they have. I did one when I was in high school. My junior year I spent in Ecuador, so I went down there and lived with a family as if I were sort of a local Ecuadorian girl. I went to high school, I had a bedroom, I walked to school, I wore a uniform, and I didn't speak Spanish when I first got there, which was pretty shocking. And I lived in a really small town in the mountains where there were cows walking around, and it's very different from my own experience. And it really opened my eyes to sort of what the different cultures in the world and the privilege that I have had living in America, and also to the similarity of people around the world, that even though the culture and economic experience was very different, the people were warm and friendly and loving, and it was great. When I taught in Springfield, and when I was teaching, I had students would just come to me at different times in the day that were not, for issues that were not related to class. They would come to me before school or after school or during lunch period, and just start telling me about really difficult things that they were experiencing in their lives. And they saw me as somebody who was open and available to them to be a listener and be a support. And I was out of my depth. I appreciated that they respected me in that way, but I also felt like I didn't know what to say to them all the time. And they were coming with some really serious life stuff. And I really found that I enjoyed that, but also felt like I didn't know how to handle it necessarily. And I started to reflect on my teaching and what it was that I loved about teaching, and I realized that my strength was really with the one-on-one relationships that I was building, and that I wanted to be able to answer those questions and help people answer the questions for themselves about their own lives. And so I went back and got a master's in social work. So anyone who's considering social work, I guess I would say that it's really important to take care of yourself. The job is, I love my job. I think it's fantastic. I get a lot from it, but it also is very taxing emotionally, and it requires you to give a lot of yourself, and so finding time and energy to rejuvenate yourself and spend on self-care is really, really important. And I also think with social work, making sure that you have really good supervision, so that especially in your first years of work that you're being supervised or have colleagues that you can reach out to and ask really difficult questions about your own experience with your clients, because when you talk to people about difficult things that happen in their lives, it can bring up emotions of your own about things that have happened in your life, and that can be hard to handle. So just to make sure that you have somebody that you trust and respect to get advice around that sort of stuff. So there are a number of things that I do. First of all, I work part-time, which I feel really fortunate that I'm able to do that, because it allows me to spend more time with my family and on myself. I also really enjoy arts and crafts activities, so anything that I can do that feels like I'm being creative is really rejuvenative to me. I like to go for walks. I actually just joined the gym. So anything that I can do that I feel like is nurturing me, I make sure I make time for it, I guess. I want them, I don't know if this answers it exactly, but I want them to be strong women. I want them to be self-confident and self-assured. And I want them to know that it's okay to step out into the world and make mistakes, that we don't need to step out into the world and be perfect, and that mistakes are just a pathway to greater growth. It comes back to taking care of yourself. Whatever it is that makes you happy, just find a way to make time for it and do it. I think as women in particular, we can tend to feel like we need to take care of everything in our lives. We need to take care of our partners, our children, our careers, our everything. And to recognize that taking care of ourselves is in there too, and it doesn't have to fall at the bottom of the pile.